Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. What is to be shared when it was discussed? Some thoughts on spirituality in daily life. We don't know about the background of this place. In India, normally when we say spiritual life, it is understood that it is cut off from the common run of life. Spiritual life means going to ashram, doing bhajan, doing Ramnam, or any name of japa tapa. Withdrawal from the usual common activities, even taking to sannyas, going through all of the scriptures, undergoing various austerities. These are all called spiritual. Leading a family life, professional life, social life, they are named as worldly life. But Parampuja Papa, in a way we should say he has demolished the barrier between these two. Because at the family level, professional level, social level, spiritual level, individual level, human being is there, no? He is the center of activity. And spirit means that which makes the individual individual. Bereft of that individual, bereft of that spirituality, there is no individual. The existence of the individual owes to the spirit. So that means there is no divide between spiritual and worldly. No doubt, when we want to go deeper into the core of our being, the spirit, certain disciplines are absolutely needed. Certain withdrawals, certain self-denials, certain disciplines are needed. But it doesn't mean we are cut off from the rest of the thing. So the first and foremost lesson Papa teaches us is that spiritual life, there is no separate thing called spiritual life. Spirituality should enter into all departments of activities. Can you go to Das Speaks Ramdas, last page?
Do we move the camera over to... No.
There he clearly mentions, so that we don't have to feel, oh, this place is not there, that place is not there. No. Spirit is the indwelling and all-pervading reality.
Last letter.
There is not a single page.
Last
but one. You can put... in those days, religion was not corrupted as we understand today. So we are now replacing the word religion to spirituality. Spirituality should enter into all departments of activities. It is the cry nowadays that one should be molded purely on a secular basis. This means we should build a life ignoring the soul. But man is not merely what he appears to be. He is not a bundle of flesh, bones, blood, skin, nor a creature living and acting solely under the impulses and thoughts rising from the mind. Next line is very important. We have to recognize that beyond the exterior dynamics of the body and the mind, there is within us the spirit which is immortal. It is by the power of the spirit that our life is activated in its manifold experiences, expressions. It is by the power of the Spirit that our life is activated in its manifold expressions. In the classroom, hospital, office, marketplace, factory and field, as well as in temple, church and mosque. We should tune ourselves with the Spirit. Divine thoughts and feelings should permeate us. So it's very, very clear that the wall has been demolished. Because I am there, whether I wear this ochre robe, whether I become a student, whether I become a family person, whether I become a professional man, whether I am employed somewhere, whether I become a part of the society, I am there, The sense of individuality is there. And the sense of individuality owes its origin to the Spirit. So at no place, at no time, the Spirit is not with us. So how can we say there is a divide between spiritual life and worldly life? And now, having intellectually understood that there is no divide between this, we try to understand how to make it at the moment we feel we are only leading a worldly life. So how to transform or how to demolish the barrier. Just because we intellectually understand, we may not be able to do it. So a little more manana, deeper contemplation or reflection helps us to slowly realize that unless and until we go to the source of everything, the Spirit, we may not be able to bring it out, or it is there already, not bring it out, that is not the right word. We may not become aware of its presence in all our activities. At the moment it is there in all our activities, even now while we are talking, even now while you are sitting and hearing. It is very much there, otherwise this activity will not take place at all. But how do I become aware? This is the real challenge before spiritual aspirants or devotees. That is why various disciplines are recommended. Today we did not start this straight away with a talk. We had Ramnam, we had Bhajan. Before a seed is sown on a soil, we just don't throw the seed. We prepare the ground, loosen the soil, add a little bit of manure, and then sow the seed, not throwing. And then nurture it, mulch it, water it, if necessary provide shade. And then slowly, after a few days, it sprouts. And then grows into a plant, and then flowering, and then fruition. Similarly, when we try to go deeper into, so just like we make all preparatory measures, take preparatory measures for facilitating, to kindle and bring out the creativity in the seed, in our mind, the direction of becoming aware of His presence, of the presence of the Spirit, it needs some preparatory measures. That is why we had the chanting of the holy and all-powerful Ramnam, Sutans. All other outgoing tendencies of the mind is slowly arrested, as it were. It becomes calm, serene. And then those who are well conversant with the background of Ramnam, that is, Ram stands for the subtle and mysterious power, the Spirit. So we are chanting the name only to remember him. And with that background, we had a couple of bhajans glorifying the personal aspect of the indwelling reality. Since you and I have got form, name and form, to immediately bring a nameless, formless reality or truth into our mind, it's a tough job. So we also glorify the Saguna aspect of God. All these things will help us to give a push to the mind to become slowly aware of the presence of the Spirit. And satsang, no doubt. The more we go deeper into the Spirit, the faster will be our progress in becoming aware. It is not we are getting anything new. We realize His presence. He is there already. In this connection, Mother Hamilton has brought out a beautiful expression. God breathed life into man. And that very life which He breathed into you is His very self. Do you not know that He is there within you every moment? Meaning, on the throne of your consciousness, on the altar of your heart. It is He who speaks to you. It is He who guides you. It is He who directs you. It is He who gives you the thoughts you think. It is He who clothes you, feeds you, makes it possible for you to have the intelligence and energy to do whatever you want to do. He and He alone. Only with this, we are transacting with the world outside. God breathed life into man. So God stands for life force. God breathed life into man, and that very life which He breathed into you is His very self. In other words, God stands for, the self stands for life. The life force. Because of the presence of that life force only, we are all sitting here. We are all hearing, we are all seeing, we are all feeling we are here. The beingness is felt. So God breathed into man, and that very life which He breathed into you is His very life, very self. Do you not know that He is there within you every moment? No, we don't know. We are trying now. On the throne of your consciousness, we know that we are hearing. We know that we are sitting. We know that we are. In Brihadaranya Upanishad, a beautiful example, a dialogue is there. Janaka and the Yajnavalkya. There, he says, what is it that makes you to know? Makes you to see things? He says light, the sun. So in the night, lamp. On a new moon day, suppose you are sitting. He says sound that makes us aware of. You can't see. Then he said, where from that sound comes? Then he thinks for a while and says, it's coming from inside, in the form of consciousness. Nobody need to tell you. You don't need a lamp to know that you are sitting. That lamp is within you. That light is within you. That light is called awareness, consciousness. We are sitting in this room alone on a new moon day, pitch dark everywhere, no electricity light also. But we don't need a light to know that we are sitting. We need a light to know other things, but not, we don't need a light to know that we are sitting. That is, that beingness, that awareness, consciousness, that's what your mother says, on the throne of your consciousness. And then, on the altar of your heart. Somebody beautifully defined, feeling is the expression of God. Heart here means that. Feeling is the expression. Thought is not the expression. Feeling is the expression of God. That is why we say He is love, He is compassionate, He stands for sacrifice, selflessness. All these things are, feelings. So here she says, how do I understand? Spirit, I should know that Spirit is within me. Do you not know? First he said life. The one which makes me to breathe, the one which makes my heart to beat, the one which makes my blood to circulate, the one which makes my digestion. All these put together we can call it as life force. Bereft of this we don't exist. So we are trying to understand how to become aware of the Spirit. If we know that every moment, every act, every word, every thought, it is coming from, it is blessed by, it is facilitated by, it is pirated by, it is sustained by the Spirit, then whatever expression it makes, it becomes spirituality in daily life. So the first and foremost thing for us, because we have been developing an idea that we are doing. We have unknowingly separated the spirit from the sense of doership. I am doing, I am thinking, I am planning, I am working. Right from our childhood we have developed this. God did not make us to know that He is there right from our beginning. Only at a particular time when He made us to meet a spiritual preceptor, then who He said that God is within you, then we start thinking. Previously we were trying to identify place of the concept of God on deities, in temples. Nothing wrong in it. Initially that will help us to develop subservience to a higher power. The first step. Instead of arrogating that I can do, I will do, we go to the, whatever may be our position, whatever may be our concepts about our life, then we go to the temple, and when we have the darshan of the deity, we wait there for so many hours. We offer everything with bhakti, devotion. We prostrate, we take the prasad, we come back. Tacitly, there is an implied assertion of the supremacy of a higher power. So with that, when we do bhajan, but actually when the spiritual preceptor says that God is within, He is making you to function as what you are, then at the moment we are unable to understand, but then we slowly try to go with Him. So that is why we do at satsang, Awakening takes place, the first awakening takes place when we go to a spiritual preceptor. Until such time we have never understood that He is there within us. But a spiritual preceptor makes us aware of it. And then we are all busy with so many activities. So how to sustain this and make a start? So periodical satsang. Periodical satsang, where we try to dwell on the words of wisdom of those who have scaled the heights, not what do you call it, intellectual statements or simple words. Those things have come out from their experience, revelations. That's why it carries so much of weight. Passing on a knowledge and sharing an experience, both are different. Passing on a knowledge will enthuse for a moment and then go. But sharing an experience, that comes out from reliving those moments. So it has got an added impact on the hearer. And of course, he has to do the manana. So again we will go through the God breathed life into man, and that very life which he breathed into you is his very self. So he is there as the life force. Do you not know that he is there within you every moment? Because if the life is not there, I will not exist. And in what form? How does he become expressive? On the throne of your consciousness. Awareness. On the altar of your heart. Beautifully it has been mentioned, because otherwise it becomes one-sided or it becomes dry. But here, it is not dry. Heart means heart melts, we say, Hearty feelings, heartfelt condolence. What does it mean? It raises from the feelings. So he is there at the bottom of the feelings. Awareness and feelings. And then, it is he who speaks to you, to be more specific. It is he who guides you. It is he who directs you, who gives you the thoughts you think and comes down to our level, who clothes you and feeds you and make it possible for you to have the intelligence and energy to do whatever you want to do. He and he alone. Each and everything we try to go through. When there was no language in the world, he made somebody to bring the language. None of us, when we came from the mother's womb, brought the language as such, Think. The brilliance of bringing out A to Z, when there was no A to Z. And in order to make it a sustaining, inspiring tool, he brought the grammar. Otherwise, so many letters will be there. There won't be any orderliness. It will not convey the same thing. But then he also made innocent letters. When they join together, it evokes different response. Yeah? What a beautiful setup. Did we do anything? Even today we are talking because of with the help of that language only. So when she says, he who speaks to you, right from our dealing with others, communication is the most important thing. And the language plays a very important role. And then, it is he who guides you. We may be feeling that it is the mind or the intellect is guiding us. True. Behind the mind and intellect, he is there, Otherwise, the dead body. If the life force is not there, if the spirit is not there. And then, he who directs you, guides and directs you. He who gives you the thoughts you think. Because when we keep on analyzing, thought is nothing but concepts coming up one by one. And it owes its origin to a thoughtless base. So without the thoughtless base, the thought cannot come. That is why we are seeing one thought, another thought. There is a balance there. We know that good thought, bad thought, creative thought, destructive thought, deplorable thought, noble thought, think. Positive thought, negative thought. So behind the thought, there is that substratum. So he who directs you, he who makes you to think, he who clothes you and feeds you. Again, we can understand in so many ways. One interpretation could be when there was no dress in the world, he made somebody. In our school days, we had learned that our ancestors were bearing the tree barks to cover themselves. And from that level to the dress level, no? Feeds you. Pulses, vegetables, fruits, they are all a gift of Mother Nature. We did not do anything. Self-propagating. But as soon as a human being saw a pulse, say for example paddy or wheat, or a Bengal gram, or a green gram, anything you mention, or when he sees a fruit, apple, or banana, or lychee, or anything, butterfruit. When you see cabbage, carrot, beetroot, lady's finger, like that. It was there already given to us by Mother Nature. But somebody should go identify it, intensely identify. And declare that it is a food, it is a pulse, it's a vegetable. That intelligence, the Spirit gave. That is why he says, make it possible and feeds you. Otherwise, how will we feed? How will we convert something as a food? The various processes involved. We were told, when you all have a cup of tea, 600, 700 years ago in Mongolia, a person was heating water, trying to heat the water. So he put three stones, firewood, a mud cup, and then pour water, and then the fire was burning. He went out for something and came back. When he came back, he saw it was red in color, so he thought something must have fallen. So he wanted to empty the whole thing, but immediately he saw some leaves are floating. The Spirit prompted him to taste. And that is how people say tea came. So behind everything, who is the propelling force? The Spirit. So he feeds you, clothes you, make it possible for you to have the intelligence and energy to do whatever you want to do now. Slowly we are trying to understand the presence of Spirit. Lot of manana should take place. Hearing will not help. That means mere manana, when we see the harmonium, when we see the tabla, the intelligence to bring out this product, the intelligence to use this. Just imagine. Everything has got a science. When it is scientifically done, it becomes impressive. All based on the 7 notes, Sarigama Padani. Who brought this Sarigama Padani? So whatever we think, whatever we see now, we can slowly extend the Spirit. It is the Spirit that has come. So now what am I to do? I have not been thinking like that. I have been treating it as an object. So now I handle it with love. nothing, now I know that nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant, nothing is unimportant, insignificant, irrelevant. That which is not relevant will not be connected to me. So I cannot ignore anything. So when he opens the file, sings, closes the file, a touch of love, a touch of perfection, a touch of dedication, touch of gratitude. The concept of file, the concept of that one which keeps the paper inside, the typing it out in the computer, so many, no? And then tabulate it, and then depending upon your norms of indexing it, you put it there for your ready reference. All these things require intelligence, raw materials, various process by various people. But behind everything we find the spirit, the spirit, the spirit. It gives us some clues. So it's not that we are seeing only harmonium. We see harmonium, but harmonium plus tabla plus bedsheet plus chair plus building plus vehicle plus. These are all some of the ways Papa says you should try. Go to the poem.
Everywhere?
Poem.
Poem everywhere, yeah?
No.
I see him everywhere.
I find him everywhere. We started with spirituality in how to bring in spirituality in daily life. So with this background, we will also go through Papa's poem. A very, very, very inspiring poem. I find my God in fields, hills, dales, in workshop, school, office and marketplace, in plains and forests, in the grazing herd of cows, in home, hospital, in power plants, in huts and palaces, in halls of assemblies, in temples, churches and mosques, in solitudes and caves, in graveyards and cremation ground. I see him in the sky above, the earth below, in the waters of the lakes, the oceans vast, in the slow and swift running streams, in trains, in cars, in aeroplanes, as well in gentle moving bullock carts. I behold him awake, asleep, dreaming, in birth, in life and in death. I find him at all times, in all places, in all states. So this gives us a clean passport, Wherever we are involved, whatever we are using it, everything Papa brings it into the orbit of this. Nothing is left out. I find my God in fields, hills, dales, workshop. In fields mean farms, agricultural fields, plantation fields. Hills, dales, in workshop, school, office, marketplace. In plains and forests, in the grazing herd of cows. In home, hospital, in power plants. In home, hospital, power plants. In huts and palaces. In halls of assemblies. In temples, churches and in mosques. Previously we were limiting to these only three. In solitudes and caves. In graveyards and cremation grounds. I see him in the sky above, the earth below. In the waters of the lakes, the oceans vast. In the slow, swift-running streams. In trains, in cars, and in aeroplanes. As well as in gentle moving bullock carts. I behold him, awake, asleep, dreaming, in birth, in life, and in death. I find Him at all times, in all places, in all states. My God is everywhere and in everything. He alone is. There is none but He. So when our spiritual preceptor from his experiential level shares this thought in the form of a poem, and adding on what all he made us to share before that, we come to realize that there is no divide between spiritual and worldly. Why we have understood it, why we are seeing it as an object even after telling. Because we have trained our equipment to identify it as an object. Object bereft of spirit. So the sadhana is now to the touch of spirit in objects, situations and individuals. It's the toughest job. So we make a beginning, That is why in ashram, Anandashram, when the founder saint, Parampuja Papa Swami Ramdas, gave us the triune path, Nam Seva Dhyan. First he said, at the time of inauguration, that the ideal is universal love and service based upon the vision of divinity. Based upon the vision of divinity means divinity stands for spirit. So only by seeing this common denominator, common factor in anything and everything, we will be able to truthfully, really love all and serve all. Because the common factor becomes predominant in us. Now we are unaware of the common factor, that is why we see everything as separate from us. So each one has to develop a technique suitable for that individual's equipment. Now that it is clear, the theory is clear now, that there is no divide between spirit and worldly, spiritual and worldly, or spirit and matter. The matter gets activated because of spirit. Spirit becomes expressive because of matter. Putting in another way, the creator becomes expressive through his creation. The creation needs the creator to exist. So matter and spirit, spiritual and worldly, are all one and the same phenomenon. So we develop, one method is Nam Seva Dhyan. Nama is to hammer this common factor into us. It is not merely chanting. Papa says, Nama is the link between us and God. And for that he made us to hammer always that I am chanting the name of one who is seated within me, the spirit, and who is making me to chant, who is activating my equipment to chant. So that slowly we will try to know if he is activating to make me to chant, he is making me to see, making me to hear, making me to do all these things through my sense organs, making me to think and take a decision through my mind and intellect. So he is there, he and he alone. This is so Nama chanting, that is why he has given so much of importance. And nobody will be able to chant throughout their waking time. Family, profession and society are their commitments. So then Papa says, whatever act we do, it should be in line with, in conformity with, compatible with our inner aspiration. Inner aspiration is to become aware of his presence. So there should be a correlation. Ultimately we come to know, as spiritual aspirants and devotees, all of you might be well aware, in the 12th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the last 7 8 slokas, the Lord declares who is my dearest devotee. If we go through that one by one, they are all values. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karune yavacha. Malice towards none, friendship towards all, compassionate towards all. Freedom, free from the sense of agency, free from possessiveness, contented always, equal in pleasure and pain, firmly established in it, and to bear everything, bravery. These are all the qualities in first sloka he says. So suppose we go through that, it might help us to transform our entire activities, thought, word and deed, by which we will become aware of his presence. This we have to do some digging. Manana is necessary. And then relate it with our daily life. Otherwise, it becomes again a textual knowledge, academic. One or two examples we will see and then close it. Say, people who are coming to ashram, they might be knowing. Every day morning one lawyer used to come by name Sudhagar, you might be knowing, in khadi shirt, white shirt.
Early morning to do...
Not early morning,
puja?
for the flower offering.
Oh, okay.
He has been coming there for the past 15, 20 years. He was very much involved in politics. He belonged to one party. So the other party, they were in a rebellious mood. They manhandled him. Very near to ashram. And he fell down, he had a fracture. He was taken to the hospital. He had to be in the hospital for more than 15, 20 days and then take rest. And then he was back to his profession. After 3-4 months, he was going in an auto rickshaw. Suddenly he saw the person who hit him waiting in the bus stand. He stopped the auto rickshaw, asked him, please get in. So he felt very bad. Then he said, forget about it, come. And when he sat with him, he told him, my karma I have to work out, your karma you have to do. Why you do we now carry all these things in our hand? Forget about it. What had happened, had happened. This had happened there. So the first is Adveshta Sarvabhutana. Malice towards none. One incident had happened. We are trying to express spirituality. And what exactly had happened, just imagine. On the outer level, he asked him to sit. But what prompted him to do that? He was able to raise himself from the level of individual to the spiritual level. And that, because he was earnest and sincere, that was able to touch and kindle the other party also to raise from the individual level to a spiritual level. So this spirituality in workaday life comes out in the form of compassion, malice towards none, friendship towards all, everything. There are so many examples. Encountered a violent mob, a person from the
mob hit him.
Had hit him, causing severe physical injuries. After a couple of months when Sudhakaran was
Traveling.
he saw the same person standing
On the road.
He stopped the auto, offered him a lift. He was initially a little reluctant because he felt guilty. Sudhakaran's forgiving nature, expressed through the body language, brought about a change in his attitude, got into the auto. He also felt very sorry for having, and both became close friends thereafter. You might be also having many such experiences. Now, by touching and kindling, what really happens is that from our present level, the me and mind level, we are raising to the spiritual level. So spirituality in daily life. When you become compassionate, Papa used to say, when you are loving, you play the part of God. When you are compassionate, you play the part of God. When you become forgiving, you play the part of God. Means what? You are raising yourself from the individual level to a spiritual level. When we are washing the plates, when you are keeping it in order, recognizing its relevance for our comfortable life, we are raising ourselves from the individual level to spiritual level. If you are doing it as a matter of discipline, orderliness, no, it is at the same at the individual level. But when we raise ourselves to a higher level, the spiritual level, the joy we get is also something, this is what we directly see in the life of saints. Normally we don't recognize, we are attached to that form, we do prostration, we praise them and we come back. But actually they are teaching us through their life that spirituality is something which is to be held for only selected people. But spirituality is something which has got to do everything in our daily life. Yesterday we were sharing, again I thought for the sake of others we will share. Prior to coming to ashram on a full-time basis, we were working with a Jain in the coffee estate management. So both of us were on a trip to Mangalore and then we were going back to Wayanad. There the estate is there. So we had to pass through Kanjangad where the ashram is there. It was at about 5:30, 5:45. Normally Jain, he doesn't go to any Hindu temple. He is a devout Jain. No, their philosophy is also different. But he was very close to us. We treat him as our brother. So we suggested, can we go and have darshan of Mataji and then leave immediately? He said, okay. He's coming for the first time to ashram. He has not met Mataji or Swamiji or anybody. This must have happened in early 80s. So we parked the vehicle, rushed up to Mataji's room. Those who have come to the ashram, they know that. Mataji's room is always open. No appointment is necessary, no protocol, no formalities, nothing. When we went there, Mataji was there. Immediately Jain gave us Ashtanga pranam, prostration. We also did. And then he said, Mataji, we are on our way to Wayanad. Another 5-6 hours we have to travel. We were passing through. We just wanted to have your darshan. That is why we came. So allow us to go. She did not hear anything. You go and eat. In Malayalam she said. No, Mataji, we have to travel another 5-6 hours. I told you, no, go and eat. So then I looked at him, he said, okay. And Mataji says, how can we? So both of us went to the canteen. The canteen was not in the way in which it was now. So as soon as we entered the canteen, there was a wall clock. We suddenly looked. It was 5:50 or something. After 6 o'clock, he will not take food. Mataji insisted, go and eat, go and eat, go and eat. Even after so many years, we remember that. Why? She was able to see not us, When we read in the malice towards none, friendship towards all, compassionate towards all. As an earthly mother will feel, after 6 o'clock he will not be able to eat. She doesn't know that he will not. As far as we are concerned, because this man is coming for the first time. But Jain was able to understand, right? It did not strike to us. He looked at the watch and said, now I feel why Mataji was insisting, go, 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 go. And he had our full meal, came back, and we left ashram only at 8 o'clock in the night. By that act, she was teaching us what is spirituality in daily life. It is not a theory, it is not a discipline, it is not to be confined within the four walls of a building or an ashram or a temple or to some bhajans or naam, or it is something to do with our very life. Or the feeling of oneness, So she was able to see this feeling of oneness or absence of otherness. That comes only when we raise ourselves from the individual level to a spiritual level. So these are all the points that welled up in our heart to share about spirituality in daily life. Though it is an uphill task for all of us, now that we are convinced intellectually, we will try in our own method. One method, what we have seen in Mataji's life, in Puja Swamiji's life, is that they start from the minutest to the grossest. To them, nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant. In Mataji's room, those who have gone, it is exactly the same. It is not that military order, no. It's a touch of love everywhere. Nothing will be done in a half-assed way, irregular, half-hearted way, slipshod way, no. Everything, whatever small item. Now to take this hammer and put it there, a gentleness will be there. And later on, Puja Swamiji is, every activity, if you minutely observe, is taking the umbrella, switching on, switching off, opening the pen, writing and closing, getting up, moving. Everywhere we will see the tenderness, softness. Mardavam Hri Ajapalam. In Bhagavad Gita, there are so many values are given for enabling us to make it a reality in our workaday life. So in one sloka he says that Mardavam Hri Ajapalam. Mardavam means softness, gentleness, tenderness. These are all the ways by which the spirituality becomes a part of our life. Spirituality expresses itself in our life. We may fail, we may forget, doesn't matter. We will try. 1 out of 100, yes. 2 out of 100, yes. Like that we can be. Because even that allowance has been given to us in Bhagavad Gita. Because Lord Krishna knows, in one go, no, none of us will be able to do this. So he said, you be a yogi. Yoga means union with God. So be spiritual, okay, in our language. But I can't be spiritual 100% because my equipment is not still ready. Doesn't matter. 5%, okay. Swarpam apyasya dharmasya trayate bhagavopaya. See, there is a slogan. Even if you do little, he will acknowledge it. Yes, I got this, enough. You have done your best. He gives a push. So let us all pray to him who is seated within us to make us aware of all these things, to slowly enable us to bring it in our daily life, which expresses in the form of harmony at home, harmony at workplace, harmony with friends, and harmony with ourselves. These four harmony, when it comes, it means, we have transformed, translated spirituality in daily life. There could be so many interpretations and approach and attitude. This is how we felt and we thought of sharing it. Intense prayer is necessary, not merely prayer, some discipline is necessary. So that is why in ashram nama is preeminent, because nama, when I try to chant nama with this attitude, nama posts itself as a watchman. So whenever I go off the line, it will immediately pull me up. What are you thinking? What are you doing? What are you speaking? So whether it is in line with this, the Nama keeps a close watch on us. So that is why Papa gives a lot of importance for Nama. And of course, whatever outer activity should be compatible with inner aspiration, he says the inner riches must be visible, must become visible in your outer contact. And then to supplement this, to get it strengthened, stabilized, inward journey, where we try to arrest all our thoughts, again with the help of Nama, and then get a glimpse of our core of our being, the spirit. This much we'll do now.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, Swamiji?
Yeah.
Would anyone have any questions?
Swamiji, I have a question, Swamiji, in relation to what Swamiji said about living a spiritual life through your daily life. And I'm talking more specifically, Swamiji, in terms of one's professional life. And if you give this kindness and this compassion, and it's not appreciated or it's not acknowledged, what's one's reaction or response, not reaction, but what's one's response to a situation like that?
When he says you handled everything with love, normally we come to a conclusion that love means, we give in. No. Love ensures proper relationship. When the child does something which will harm him, what attitude you take? You show your anger, or even you say some words, you pull him up or pull her up. Doesn't mean that you don't have love.
Mataji had a few. Mataji used to.
Mataji. Those who have had she will give left and right. She is not only a spiritual mother, she is an earthly mother to everybody. At the same time, earthly mother in the sense, not merely giving. Anybody who shows some pettiness, he had it or she had it. She will not leave. So let us not confuse. The love is there intact. Because Mataji, why she was taking to task, they will have to suffer for this. If you do anything wrong, you will have to suffer for it later, either in this life or in your next life. So Mataji cautions them in cutting language probably at times, so that they remember. And afterwards when they come to know, they know that Mataji has not done anything with any prejudice. Swamiji used to put it beautifully. It is like a line drawn on a sheet of water. Next second, part of the second, the leveling goes. You won't see any impact. So it is out of love. We had also in the professional life various testing moments like this, and how the boss, Jain, how he used to keep up that equilibrium while taking strict action. Very strict action. Because the simple theory he made us known is that you separate the individual from the wrong things done. And you are punishing for the wrong things done, keeping your love for the individual intact. It's a tremendous struggle, agree. But spirituality will express itself, will give us that capacity to deal with him strongly or her strongly, and at the same time, the love for him remains intact. one estate writer, the supervisor, she manages when the fertilizer, chemical fertilizer is brought, and when it is to be applied to the estate. Normally there are some processes there. So this particular supervisor took 20 kilos out of the bag, packed it and kept somewhere. This was seen by the watchman. This watchman is working under the supervisor. If this person asks, we used to supply him, suppose for his estate, we supply along with this week 1 or 2 bags itself. But on that particular day, somehow God made this drama to happen, and then he stealthily kept it. The watchman reported to us. We had no choice because his own subordinate has seen. If nobody has seen, we can call him and close the affair. But because his subordinate has seen, we called him. He first denied. Then he said, you want him to go and locate the place where you are kept? Then he came. Then he said, how will you exercise your control on him? Tomorrow he shares with the co-workers. How will they hear your words? So you do one thing. Boss is also not in the station. So from tomorrow onwards, for some days you don't come. Don't tell anybody. I will also not tell anybody. Just say you have some personal work and you go. He got offended, no doubt. But next day he did not come. We put somebody else. After the boss came from his store, we reported to him. Then he said, oh, it's embarrassing, because this person was there before he was born.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, we will do one thing. We will send salary to his house. Whatever benefits you are getting, that nothing will be denied. Provident Fund, everything will be denied. And when he feels like coming back, we will give him work. So every month, religiously, on the 1st, salary will be sent with a voucher. He will sign it. Whenever we see him in between, we stop the vehicle, ask him about the general welfare, and go back. He will turn his face initially, then he used to answer. For 3-4 months it was going on. Then he came back one day and said, I know what I did was a foolish thing, and I cannot come back there and work. Then he said, anything you want. And we can't give him a transfer because his family is in some place, and he is an elderly person. So we said, okay, whatever you want, you tell us, we will give you. And so the love was there intact. What we mean is, we are not closing our eyes. For the sake of dharma, we have to take that action. Otherwise, you will not be able to run the organization. But at the same time, keeping the love intact, untouched, unaffected. It is a tough job. One more day for yesterday we shared. Very touching, although that's why we remember. Ashram devotee only said this. His father was working in a British firm in Bombay. Our Raghuramji's father. Raghuramji told me this. Anandashramji's brother.
Mm-hmm.
So the attendant, he was irregular to the office. Many a time they tried their level best. You should come at 9 o'clock. He won't come. It's all right. A stage came when they cannot close their eyes. So he was dismissed. After 5-6 months, he came to the office. And he said, I want a contact certificate. Somebody is giving me a job. So he said, how can we give you a contact certificate? You were dismissed because of your irregularity. Anyhow, Raghuramji's father thought it would be better to have a word with the boss. And he was a European. The boss said, give him a first-class certificate. No, sir, how can we give a first-class certificate? He has been dismissed. All right. How do you know that the transformation has not taken place? The very fact that he came here for his contact certificate shows that he is free from ego, otherwise he will not come. Transformation has already taken place. Had he come to us for a job, we would have given. Anyway, he is going to somebody's job, give him a first class certificate. What does it mean? No? We say generosity, kindness. He was able to raise himself to the spiritual level. Even that he may not know, the European may not know. But the truth is, he is not viewing it from the individual level. Ex-employee, discharged or dismissed because of his irregularity, all those things did not come. He was trying to find out that which is common in, which is called the spirit. So it is, we can do that.
Thank you, Swami.
Joanna, question?
I wanted to know,
Swalpamapi asya dharmasya.
Prayote mahatva. Dharmasya means duties or some other thing.
What does dharmasya mean? Duty or some other thing?
Which type of karma?
Anything that you do to raise yourself from the individual level to a spiritual level, anything that you do, it will not go in vain. That is the message he conveys. See, I forgot. I started thinking about men and matters. I go down. I see the chappal there, my sandal. I see somebody's sandal there, not in an order. Oh, immediately I keep it all right. It will not go in vain. It will have its own impact.
It will not go
Because nobody tells it is coming from you. You are just getting out, leading a normal life. Somebody is coming, he is likely to fall because he lost his step. You are there. You immediately rush. You did not think whether you can hold him. You immediately run and somebody sees and somebody also comes, okay. When he sees you going at this age, it touches and kindles. Now what happened at that time? When he is about to fall, you are not seeing him as a person. Then if you see him as a person, you will think whether I will be able to hold him or I will also fall. But you rose yourself to a little higher level, spiritual level. And that you did, that touched and kindled somebody, they also came. And then, okay, that's all right. You may not be able to do anything, but that will not go in vain. Drop by drop, action by action. Recently, a couple of years back, one of our devotees was traveling in a train from Mangalore. He told us one. The signal is there, the train has just started moving. One old lady was holding on to the, what do you call that?
Side
Handle. And train is moving. The TT somehow saw, pulled her inside and made her to sit and gave her left and right. Through words. He did not use any this thing. So then he said, then we were wondering, we did not know the background. Why is he shouting at this old lady? Then he said, if I had left, she would have been under the train. So I was telling her, when the train is moving, either you send a signal to somebody to stop, or you leave the train. You will not be there to travel at all. So this man took the risk of pulling her out, pulling her from the platform, and then to put her in the carriage and sit. What was it that made? If you are seeing an individual to individual, he will be more concerned about his security. And he will say, if she has to fall, it is her lot. He will have some funny theory and do it. But no. And that when that is shared with others, it touches and kindles, So nothing will go in vain. That is why Lord Krishna expresses Swarpam Apyasya Dharmasya. You remember the chapter? Chapter you remember? Chapter? Chapter number?
Chapter 2, verse 40.
Chapter 2.
Verse 40.
Okay.
Google Baba. Baba Google
Google Baba. We are ever getting Google Baba is
Google Baba to the rescue.
It's Mother Google.
Mother Google.
You have to bow down before him. Tremendous. There is no waste of unfinished attempt. Nehavi kramanasho nashasti pratyavayona vidyate swarpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahatu bhayat. In this there is no waste of unfinished attempt. Nor is there production of contrary results. Even a little of this dharma protects one from great fear. He says, rituals. So in this great path of yoga buddhi, there is no fear of any loss of unfinished attempt. You do this, that will not go in vain. You do something, you leave it due to some circumstances. When you come next to it, you have to start once again. Many things in life belong to that category. This is especially true of all religious rituals. But in this case, there is no such trouble. So rituals you do, you finish a ritual half. When you return to it, you cannot continue the next. You have to start from ABC again. But in this path, spiritual path, everything is cumulative. Beautiful word. Everything is cumulative. Nothing is lost. You do what you can, leave it. And after some time you can come back again, continue from where you have left it. Continue further. What can be called cumulative development. In fact, that is the nature of the character building. Character development is always cumulative. You do something, you build up character, then you have other things to do. Then you forget all about it. Come back again, restart. That is the meaning of this wonderful shloka. Even a little of this philosophy will save us from great fear. Character development is not just a matter of one day. You go on doing it, slowly build up a great character, a strong character. It takes time. And so, cumulatively, you are building up a wonderful character with tremendous humanist resources. It's a great assurance for us, because we are involved in various things, whether this will help or that will help. No, it will help. Because we have raised from the individual level to the spiritual level. And and nobody told us. If somebody had instructed us, then it may not leave the impact deep enough. But when it comes from our own.
From Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna told. God Sri Krishna.
Lord Sri Krishna told.
Yeah.
Swami, I have a question.
Anything else?
Yes, last question I have. So, we do every day, do some work. We are in an environment where we are trying to do something. But we have this impulsive nature, right? Sometimes we don't tend to do something, but still we do it. We don't tend to speak something, but we still do it. So, how we can get rid of those karmas?
How will it?
How we can get rid of those karmas? Because we are doing good karmas, but we are also doing.
We may read, we may hear, we may attend, but still impulsively we may react. But the only thing is, by repeated performance of our sadhana, with the right perspective, by going through the biographical sketches of any celebrated masters, we fill our mind with all these positive thoughts. Slowly it will arrest the impulsive nature. In one go it will not, because it has been with us for a long time. But some have, just like everything what we have mastered now, or we feel we have mastered now, it has come from repeated performance. Is it not? Anything. You made it perfect only by doing it again and again and again and again, by trial and error method, by polishing it, by doing it. Then only it comes. So similarly here also, we have no shortcut. Absolutely there is no shortcut. Just like, when you learn the cycling, you will, before you get the balance, you will fall half a dozen times, get bruises, you will feel, dejected. Enough is enough, I am not going to do it. But again, next day, when you see the cycle, you get into it. By perseverance, you do that, and one day you get the balance. And the balance will stay with you. Because it is not coming from outside. You have been able to touch and kindle the balance that is within you, that latent power, that energy. Similarly, by repeatedly doing, by repeatedly going through, this is a tall talk. No, when we look at the lives of others, don't think that only sannyasis or mahatmas, no. If you look with that perspective, you will see an umpteen number of people leading such a beautiful life. They are all involved in the active life. Where in their position we would have impulsively reacted. But they, especially nowadays we don't know. When we were in the professional field, we had that wonderful opportunity of getting such bosses, section heads, who will, when we burst out, without any reason, they coolly hear and then they calmly say, and then they make us to remember. So many instances. So that gives us the chapa and authenticity that it is possible, it is possible, it is possible. If it is only done by Swamis or Mahatmas in the ashram, we may feel we have to become a Swami to become that. No. But this is available in everybody's life. We are mostly guided by that. Our own experience, we would have faltered. Then somehow the other party, with a presence of mind, hears everything, makes us to think. There are so many instances that can be paraded before our mind. Suppose you in your mind you parade certain people whom you regard. Why do you regard? A little more manana will help you. There is an ideal that is attracting you. And that ideal, when you try to understand, that ideal comes from friendliness, peacefulness, cordiality, tenderness. These are all some of the synonyms of spirituality. So again we may fail next time, but we think about it. And slowly, our namajapa or sadhana, when you do take namajapa, suppose that is your sadhana, you will also pray to him. Please, you gave me a mind and intellect. So far you have allowed the mind to impulsively react to events and individuals which are not compatible with my expectation. I forget that just like I have the rights to have my rights and wrongs, you are given the same rights for the rights and wrongs in other person. So I should be able to present my stand, which you have prompted, in a loving way, rather than rushing up with it. And what is the result? When I impulsively, there is no bridge between my heart and their heart. It is a closed. Neither I can enter into his heart, nor he can enter into your heart. So you try to learn that impulsive reaction shuts the door to enter into somebody's mind. Whereas your interest is now to enter into him. With that background, when you try to go through your own life, you will find many, many instances where they do it calmly. We were telling, 4 days back, when we landed from New York in Heathrow, because we cannot walk, we were lying upon
Wheelchair.
wheelchair. So we had to wait for the wheelchair to come. At that time, one family was also there, one elderly person, I think connected with the family. Suddenly, a small boy, must be about 3-4 years old, he came out and as he was near we were sitting here, there is a partition wall, he went and then vomited. Immediately the mother or somebody rushed up and did like this and made him to ease himself, and then immediately somebody went. They took their some cloths, to keep it, and immediately gave him a plastic cover, and then so that he can vomit there. No fuss, not getting irritated, not shouting. Okay. When that was over, they coolly went and reported to the concerned people. She came. I recall her as a Sthita Prajna in 2nd chapter. With a calm, cool mind, with all the necessary things, the mop, the sanitation, this thing, mix, and then a container, and a roll of tissue paper. So first I was watching her. She was unrolling the whole thing. It slowly spread. And then when she was convinced that everything has been spread and everything has been absorbed with the tissue paper, she took that mop, and with that, there is a container there, slowly pushed it inside. Again she did it 2 times, 3 times, and then that was sprayed. Again she did it. Before that she put a board.
Caution.
Wet floor. Caution.
Wet floor, please. Everything silently, beautifully done, without any murmur. She did not shout at those people. Parents did not shout, nothing. We are not talking about sannyasis or some people who have mastered Bhagavad Gita. We are talking about ordinary people keeping up the same level. She was able to raise herself from a higher level. Everybody. One officer, one person he also saw that, he also did not make any comment. So that means why? That means the goodness is in everybody, because he is there in everybody. And goodness is godliness. So they must have been unknowingly practicing so many things. They may not even know they are practicing it. But when God makes us to observe all these things, it is a reminder to us. Don't impulsively react. Puja Swamiji used to say, don't react immediately when anything happens. Close your eyes, chant 10 times Ram Nam, and then react. Because by that time you would have got your level.
So the impulsive it overrides the chanting.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
And then you try to override it with chanting, then it again you feel sorry about yourself only. So it becomes a very disgraceful activity altogether in the whole episode. So this is very unique.
When we buy something, we have to pay the price.
That's what I'm saying. So how to control that impulse?
By chanting, by thinking about all these things, by going through the experience, by watching everything, these are all the processes. If he can do it, why I should not do it? What is it that made him to deal with it in a calm, quiet, passive way?
But that moment just hits like a matches, you just stroke it and it'll lit. So you don't have to do anything because the situation gets rough there.
We can follow you. Actually, just like you, in ashram, Puja Swami Satchidanandaji, he is a man of serenity, calmness, quietude. So he used to sit like this. He will not talk much. So one devotee came and said, just like you, he asked, Swamiji, you are sitting like a stone. Whereas when we deal with, we jump. Give us some technique. So he smiled, Swamiji. Don't smile, Swamiji, give us some technique. Even they are watching. Even then Swamiji was very cool. Then he smilingly said, don't react immediately. No, Swamiji, there will be some occasion when we have to react immediately. Okay, then chant 3 times or 5 times Ramnam and then do it. Initially you may not be able to control. You will control. Who says a person was controlled, So that is why God makes us to get in touch with the people. You can put that, the world we live in. Because this quotation, it should get imprinted, stamped in our mind. So that we are not confining ourselves to me and mine world. We should have the openness to see what is happening in and around us. Papa says, the world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us. The world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Nay, the world itself is our Guru or God. So as you go, when you drive, when you go to the office, God would have placed so many things for you to observe. Don't forget. And even I forget, next day also he will give me. If we start observing, not only human beings, this can be taught through so many things. Through trees, through movables, immovables. When you go to the temple, somebody out of their devotion, they will have demolition, they call it, they will cry, there are so many things, but the deity will be saying. You may complain, you may have put up a lot of petitions mentally, but he will hear everything coolly. Make me non-impulsive, that also you will keep quiet. So he is teaching, everything you can learn. You offer, you won't take anything. You put the flowers, you take back the flowers. You offer the sweet, you take back the sweet. You give him a bath, take it. He is not asking you, I must be given a bath. That shows, whatever you want to do for your own betterment, I am aware of you. Whatever that gives you joy, I am there unconditionally. These are some of the things which will tame us, which will teach us how to become. And spiritual, when you chant, in spite of my chanting, why did I do like that? Why did you make me to do like that? Papa used to say, another trait what we have to develop is to have a dialogue with him every day. So that we can put up all our complaints to him. See, look here, today you put me in an embarrassing situation and made me to lose my temper. And you kept quiet. This is not fair. Like that, you develop a relationship with him.
He doesn't keep quiet actually, that is the problem.
It's other way around.
So I don't realize it, but it's like,
You will take. So this daily communion with him, contact with him, will slowly tame. Papa used to also mention that to carve out a form in a rough stone, lot of chiseling is necessary. Rubbing, scrubbing, chiseling, and it is painful. But ultimately what comes out of it?
eventually.
This is a beautiful PPT.
Let's see how long it takes to get to structure. 125,
Yeah,
You see?
140.
I accept that. But I want him to see.
Trials of a teacup.
4 o'clock.
I have not been always a teacup. There was a time in my life when I was just a lump of clay. Then my master took me and began to pat and mold and shape me. It was very painful, and I begged him to stop, but he only smiled and said, "Not yet." Then he placed me on a spinning wheel and I went round and round. I got so sick I thought I was not going to make it. But then he finally let me off. Just as I thought I was going to be all right, my master put me in an oven. I have never understood why he wanted to burn me. I yelled and begged for him to stop, to let me out. I could see dimly through the glass in the oven door, but he only smiled and shook his head, said, "Not yet." Finally he came and took me out. "Oh, that sure feels better," I said to myself. Then all of a sudden my master picked me up and started sanding and brushing me. Then he took a paintbrush and started painting colors all over me. The fumes were so strong, I thought I was going to pass out. I pleaded with him to stop, but he continued to smile and said, "Not yet." Then he placed me in another oven. This one was twice as hot as the first. I knew that I would suffocate. I begged, I pleaded, I cried, but he still only smiled and said, "Not yet." I began to feel there was no hope. I would never make it. I couldn't take any more. It was all over for me. I decided to give it up. Then the door swung open. Master said, "Now." He lifted me up and he placed me on a shelf to rest. Later he came to me with a mirror and told me to look. As I looked at myself, I couldn't believe my eyes. I said, "Oh, what a beautiful teacup." Then the master explained, "I want you to understand that I knew it hurt when I patted and molded you. I knew the spinning wheel made you sick. But if I had left you alone, you would have dried up and always have been just a lump of clay. You would not have had any personality in your life. I knew it was hot when I put you in the first oven. But if I had not, you would have just crumbled. I knew it really bothered you to be brushed and painted. But if I had not, you would not have had any color in your life. Oh, how I knew the second oven was hard for you. But you see, if I had not put you there, you would not have been able to stand the pressures of life. Your strength would not have lasted, so you would not have survived for very long. So you see, when you thought it was all so very hard, I still had you in my care. I knew all along what you would be today. I had the finished product in mind from the day I first touched you. All of us have to go through pains in life. If only we understand that each such pain is making a better person out of us, our day will be better. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Swamiji, for this life.
So we'll have Ramna.